So KD reportedly shot down a trade to Golden State around the deadline. Steve Kerr doesn't blame KD. He came out and said he still gets criticized, so why would he want to face all that BS again? KD denied that being the reason and said that I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season. And then when asked about being moved in the summer, he said, "You got to ask the front office about that. I didn't ask for a trade from Phoenix."
So I buy that. He just didn't want to be traded during the season. I do buy that. Here's what I would say. If he does have oh, maybe I would play with them again, but next year, my advice, you can move me in the offseason. My advice would have been to go now. And that is because, we are already approaching really unprecedented territory with how long Steph and Durant are still this good. And there is no guarantee that next postseason, having the two of them together would make you a championship contender. Here is a crazy stat, DeMonte. So Steph's 36, Durant's 36. Steph is averaging 23 points per game this year, 23 and a half. Here is the complete list of players in the history of the NBA to average at least 23 points per game in a season age 36 or older. Steph this year, Durant this year, Kareem one time, Karl Malone twice, and LeBron 5 times. That's the list. Michael Jordan never did it. Kobe Bryant never did it. Every one of your favorite players ever, if it is not Steph or Durant this year, Kareem, Karl Malone, or LeBron, they never averaged 23 a game, age 36 or older. Now, Durant's averaging 27 and shows no signs of slowing down. Steph is showing some signs of slowing down, which again, he turns 37 next month. It's remarkable he's still doing this. LeBron playing at this level at age 40, there's a Brady effect to it, where when Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl at 44, people then look at Drew Brees at 39, and they're like, he should still be awesome, or 40. And it's like, no, you know what? That's not a fair expectation. Now, Durant might keep this up. I mean, Durant's showing no signs of slowing down, except for he doesn't really have as much of an impact on winning as he once did. But that's, again, he's still one of the 12 best players in the league. So I hate that Durant is going to have another great year without any real chance of winning the championship. And Phoenix is more likely to miss the playoffs entirely than they are to be in the conference finals. So that's a bummer to me. Did you want to ask a follow-up?
Do you think that KD is more likely to be a Sun next year or another team? I don't feel like you.
Oh,
go ahead.
I think he's going to be somewhere else.
Okay.
I think that, here's what I think. I'm going to give you a handful of teams that have real expectation this year or had it going into the year.
Okay.
And either they had it going into the year and they've underachieved, or now because of what they've done, they have created real expectation. In the East, the only one is the Knicks that fits this category. And in the West, Memphis, Houston, Minnesota, and then the pipe dream OKC. If any of those teams go out in round one, do they this offseason say, you know what? Let's go out and, pay 110 cents on the dollar for Kevin Durant to try to take us over the top. Now, I see no scenario in the world where OKC goes out in round one, but our friend Ty Butler, who's a huge Durant fan, He has been pushing this.
Praying on it.
And I love the storyline of it, of Durant coming back to OKC at the end and delivering them a championship alongside Shea.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. And it would be such an awesome moment for him. I think more likely is Minnesota gets involved. And then lurking is Houston. Because Houston has the assets and the draft picks. I don't think they're good enough to be, I do think they are probably going to lose in round one. And that would, to me, be a really fascinating one. But I see no chance he plays for the Suns next year. Like,
you think?
I think Suns. No, I just think the Suns are going to. Right now, my money would be on Phoenix missing the play-in entirely. Not even the playoffs, the play-in. So I don't know how they run it back. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Do you think, you said KD's showing no signs of slowing down. Where would you compare Wemby to him right now? You got similar body types. Do you think Wemby's past him?
I don't. Because I don't view it. The NBA is not 50% offense, 50% defense when it comes to player evaluation. It just isn't. If it were, there wouldn't be a need for an all-defense team. The reason there's an all-star team, an all-NBA team, and then an all-defense team, it's like, hey, this guy might have been the third best defender in the whole league, and he's not even an all-star. So Wemby is a brilliant defender. Brilliant. And he's a good offensive player. I don't think he's a great offensive player yet. KD is a decent defender and a brilliant offensive player. It's close, but I right now would say Durant. I also, speaking of Wemby, we had this discussion on the show yesterday because there was something the All-Stars were asked, who's going to be the best player in the league in 5 years? And Wemby got the most votes. He got 6 of the 15. And Luka got 0. And I said my vote would be for Luka. Luka in 5 years is going to be 30. Wemby in 5 years is going to be 26. And again, I understand the upside of Wemby. But what also, and again, he's already awesome. But also, if we're going to be fair and going to be honest, we would say this. Luka was better by year 2 than Wemby is right now. Luka in year 2 carried his team to the playoffs, was first team All-NBA, and was dominant in that playoff series against a really good, healthy Clippers team. Like, Wemby has not yet impacted
People get
winning.
caught up in the awe of him. Like, he's an anomaly, obviously.
And he, listen, he's also awesome. I'm not taking that away. He is awesome. But he is more of an idea. So Anthony Davis was a rookie in 12-13. So in 13-14, okay, that one they were 34-48. So that's in line with where the Spurs are. Let me look at the Mavs, because people will say Jordan's Bulls were 30-52 his second year, but that was the year Jordan broke his foot. So he didn't miss most of the year. By the way, that 30-win Bulls team made the playoffs. I know it seems impossible. Look it up. It's true. When people are like, Jordan never missed the playoffs with the Bulls, he missed basically his whole second year. They won 30 games. They made the playoffs. So Luka in year 2, they were 43-32. That was the COVID year. And so you didn't play the full schedule, and they went to the playoffs. The Cavs in year 2 were 42-40, but missed the playoffs. So they were around 500. I didn't necessarily think, DeMonte, that Wemby and the Spurs this year would be a playoff team, but I thought they'd be around 500. And so it's, you know what I mean? Like, that's been at least somewhat disappointing. I don't know how we got off on this.